Hey everyone, Cosmos here from Dollar Games. In this video, I'm going to be talking about Knighthood Talents and Intensity. Intensity is not something talked about very much, so I'm going to do that in this video. And so here it is. You can find your intensity in the attributes on the left side of your inventory page. And that is saying that it increases damage to players by X%. At the moment I have 14,676 intensity, and we're going to be increasing this, and we will see how this percentage increases. So let's say it's roughly 65%. Now this is to other players, and the intensity I will be increasing via the talents, the Knighthood talents. At the moment I have my talents at level 13, where what I also recommend to everybody is to max out the res reduction first, because that is going to regulate your damage output, which is very important. So that's the first 10 points where I would recommend everyone to put their Knighthood talents. And the next one is, at least for my character, I am choosing to do intensity and crit. Now there are other very interesting ones. There are three for resistances. There's light and water, starting with 10% and going with 10% per level, so that's up to 100% additional resistance for that. Dark and fire resistances, electro and wind resistances. All Knighthood talents significantly increase battle rating, so it even if you just randomly pick one, it's still going to increase your battle rating. So those are three resistances. There's the one res reduction, and then there are three I would say PvP more PvP related talents. There's the intensity and crit, which is of course increasing crit as well as intensity, although I'm going to be talking more about intensity in this video. And there's the influence and penetration, and influence is the one where it is reducing the chances of you being stunned, but that was introduced at a time when stun existed on a number of skills in the game, and then the stun was removed, but this was kept. So I'm not sure if the influence part of this still works. And as a side note, there's a relic, there's an artifact that actually can stun the enemy, so that's new in patch 7.6, and perhaps this influence will help with that, but there's no way of really knowing. And the penetration is actually quite useful to that would work in the category as damage increase, because it will do more damage towards your towards the enemy which blocks. And then you have the tenacity and block, which is the kind of the opposite of the intensity and crit. As the intensity increases the damage, the tenacity reduces the damage. So it's a battle between those two. So that's a small introduction on this window here. And then I also want to point out that I've published the Knighthood Talents Balin and Talent Stone Costs reference article on Dollar Games Wartune blog, so you're welcome to come and check out this article. There's a very long table, and then there are some comments already, but basically it's just a brand new post, and that will show you the cost. Like here you can see it costs 8,000 balance or bound balance, and if I want to upgrade this and click on that, it's going to tell me that I can also spend talent stones, and that the talent stones would be spent first. So if you want to see that entire table from level 1 to level 70, you can go check that out. There's both the balance costs and the talent stone costs. So that's that. Now we're gonna go to my inventory, and I'm just gonna get rid of this extra item, and I'm gonna look for my talent stones, which is over here. Talent stone, I have 2,500, which sounds a lot, but it's not a lot. So and I haven't used them for a while, so I've been just gathering them because I also wanted to do this video, so I wanted to have some. So 2,500, and as I mentioned in my article as well, if you want to make sure that you don't spend balance, then keep checking your inventory when you're upgrading here. So I'm gonna do a couple of upgrades here. So that's 200 stones, 220 stones, 245 stones, 270 stones, and let's say if you forget just open back to inventory. I have now 1,500 left. I think I'll spend it all. So 320, and it goes up, of course. So it's you have to be careful. Now I have 600 left only, and this one is gonna take 375. So I'm gonna stop here, and I actually just needed a couple of points for this video to explain about the benefit of this intensity. And I have 8 now because anyhow I needed to use up those talent stones because it was just bell rating sitting in my inventory, and I needed to use them. So we have 8 points. We'll use all the 8 points then. Alright, so as you remember, I showed you that I have intensity at 65% here, increased damage to players, and I explained also that the tenacity is the opposite, so decreasing damage received from players. So you cannot just use intensity only. So if let's say here you say you have 100% more damage, you cannot just say I always do 100% more damage. No, it will depend on your enemy's tenacity as well. So okay, but for now we're gonna focus only on intensity with all those disclaimers and notices said. And I have here 65%. So let's increase the talent by just 1 point and see what happens. Oh, and also just for observation, the crit will also go up. So let's have a look at that. 99,000 crit and 65%. So let's increase just by 1 point, and see, what I'm trying to show is that even a single point makes a big difference. So here we're gonna raise that to 4. And there it goes to 66.4%, and crit jumped up to 106%. Also I forgot to mention the bell rating, but that's of course going to increase as well. So I'm at 22.3. So we're gonna raise it another point. Gonna go to 5, and let's have a look. Goes to 68%, and crit is up to 115,000, so significant increase. Bell rating 22.42, so that's a big increase there. We're gonna do another one. Gonna go to 6, and here we have intensity 18,000. It goes up to 69.3%. And crit is at 122, bell rating 22.46. Gonna go to 7. That boosts intensity to 19 and 70.58%. And the crit went up to 130, bell rating to 22.5 almost. Another point. It maxes at 10, so just a couple left. Intensity goes to 71.7. Crit goes to 137. So that's almost a 40,000 increase in crit right there. And 22.53 the bell rating. Gonna go one more. That's the next one will be the last one. And here we have intensity 21. It goes to 72.8, and the crit goes to 145, bell rating 22.57. And the last point 10, so that maxes out the intensity crit at 100% each, and then we can see the effect of it. So we started at 65% and we're up to almost 75%. So I went from 3 points to 10 points, and that gave me almost a 10% additional damage to players, which is very, very significant. And the crit, we started at 99, so almost 100, and we went up to 152,000. So that's a huge over 50,000 increase in crit. And the bell rating went up to 22.6 million. So very, very significant. And the intensity was of course the main motivation for me to make this video, because This intensity is of course going to help all PvP activities, but it's also going to help, I believe, in Titan Temple, which is something that gets harder every day, and it's a race, so every day we try to get stronger, but also those top enemies, they also get stronger, and therefore that's something that I want to keep on being able to do more and more damage in Titan Temple, to be able to, you know, to clean it out, as the couple of videos that I showed, because I think especially with the addition of relics, it is the top players are going to jump up a lot, I think. And at the moment it's controlled, and everybody is rising at approximately the same level, but they already started adding some cast stones in events, and I think they will add more items like that, and then once they start adding bigger amounts in let's say Balin spend or recharge events, I think they will go up even further. So a small trick like this with boosting your intensity, if you haven't done that, it's definitely something to consider, and you can do that both via talent stones as well as bound balance. Bound balance you can earn via different events, via login prizes, as well as balance mines in dimensions, so make sure to do your dimensions every day. And talent stones you can earn by doing speed clearance every day, which is up here, speed clearance, so very fast, 3-4 minutes, depending on the party, of course. If you get unlucky with a slower person, then you can go up to 7 minutes. I don't know what's the record on the worst run. I think I've done 11 minutes once, which was horrible. And like I mentioned, it was somebody, like I mentioned to the party, it was somebody with a wooden computer. That's what I told them, but also couldn't have been a very bright individual. But anyways, it's still fast, and so definitely do your speed clearance daily, do your dimensions, and just build up the talent stones and bound balance necessary to increase these talents, because all of them, all 7 of them, are very powerful. Now I'm primarily focused on offense, and all the people who like attack more than defending, they can follow my lead. Of course, if you are more defense oriented, you should look more into the resistances and the tenacity, but I am more attack oriented, so I'm going for rest reduction, intensity and crit, and the next one could be influence and penetration, but I'm actually not going to spend this point because I'm unsure about the stun part of the influence, and the penetration is nice, but I think my penetration is already high enough, or let's say it's satisfactory for me, so I might pass this one, and perhaps pick tenacity and block instead, because I generally do like block, although it's not a priority for me right now, and the rest is all defensive. So the resistances are defensive, tenacity and block is defensive, so I might get some more damage output if I go into influence and penetration via the penetration in case the enemy blocks, such as in Titan Temple. Then I will still do more damage even if they block. So for now I'm not going to spend this point, but if you're watching this video, perhaps you can put in the comments where you think I should spend this point, or where are you spending your points for Knighthood Talents, and that's something that we can discuss. But otherwise, I definitely wanted to highlight to you guys this intensity effect and the increase in damage. Now, if somebody says 10% is not a lot, I think it is a lot, because it's damage to the players, and you are fighting kind of against an uphill, and their defenses are strong, so anything you can get through is significant. Also, if you're doing a large amounts of damage, let's say in millions, then this 10% definitely adds up. And then if you do buff on top of a buff on top of a buff, like for example if you do brutality and you're as well on where is it, on celestial strength, and as well let's say you're using a Thor, where's my Thor, and you're also on top of that on Vulcan's Blessing. So if you're powering up for a strong attack like I showed in a previous video with a Deadly Kiss with Thor, then that 10% is actually very big amount of damage. So right now, by doing this, I believe my performance in Titan Temple will increase or improve further. But again, I'm making a disclaimer that I don't know for with 100% guarantee that intensity will work in Titan Temple, because although we are fighting player characters, it is not exactly PvP because it's not a real human there. So I don't know if the developers have classified Titan Temple as a PvE environment or a PvP environment. So that's something that I won't be able to find out unless the developers tell us, which they will not, because they never reveal secrets or formulas. And since there are so many variables, it's impossible to test. There are just too many numbers and buffs and debuffs flying around for anybody to be able to test this. So I won't be able to give 100% confirmation, but there are players, and just with that faith, I'm going with this, and as a side benefit, if I do any PvP, this will help me. So that's it, you guys. I think that was long enough for the video. I hope you enjoyed it. Remember, you can go to Dollar Games Wartune and and read this article and many other articles related to Wartune, which are all aimed to help you. And the blog is at wartune.dollargames.com. If you don't have the address, you can also play various short games at dollargames.com. And if you like my work, please remember to support, if you are able to, via Patreon. And I'll put all the links in the description of the video. So to all the people who support, thank you very much. Your support is why I can continue working and generating all this content for everyone. So thanks for watching. Please do click on like and subscribe as well, and have a very nice day.